Let's talk about the three types of books you need to read. The first type are biographies and autobiographies. To be honest, for the longest time, I didn't really put a lot of value on this type of book. It's funny because even the other day I was talking to someone and he wanted to be an actor. I asked him, have you read any biographies of people who wanted to be actors and went that path and wrote about it? He said, well, I know this person's story and I already know that person's story, so I don't know why I need to read their books. That's how I thought as well. But here are the benefits of reading biographies and autobiographies. First of all, you're going to learn specific things, little details that you can apply to your own career and your own life that aren't in that general one-page summary of that person's life or the headline of the New York Times. Second of all, you're going to learn what it actually takes to succeed at something and not just what some marketer or clever book title wants to make you believe. We're always told, here's the easy way to success or get rich quick schemes, but in reality, when you read these things, you see what it really takes to succeed. And most importantly, you get into that person's mind. Remember how we talked about in an earlier video how reading stimulates your mind and gets you thinking positively. Well, when you read biographies and autobiographies, you learn how that person thinks, and you take those ways of thinking into your own mind. Just like in the real world, you become like the people and think like the people you spend time with. When you read biographies and autobiographies, you start to take on that person's thinking as well. So if you're reading about people who are way further down the path than you are, you're literally, I believe, cutting years off the process, not only because of what you learned specifically, but because you learn to think like those people. And that's at least half the battle. So make sure you include biographies and autobiographies in your reading Excel sheet. The next category of books that you definitely want to read are specific skill or how-to books. Remember, we talked about in the last video that you want to read about things that you want to be world class in. In this category, you learn specific skills. These are things that aren't necessarily people's opinions. There's no controversy to them. They are just specific skills. These books aren't always the most fun to read. But remember, you can have all these great ideas and theories and ways of looking at the world. But without specific skills, they don't count for very much. By the way, regardless of what you want to do, I recommend learning about accounting, finance, investing, direct marketing, copywriting, and sales. And maybe even a book about taxes, because even if you have somebody else do your taxes, it's important to have a general understanding of it. The third category of books are what I call success books. These books are probably a little more debatable. Maybe they are management or business bestsellers, or maybe they're a book on happiness or psychology. These books can be anything from the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu in the 4th century BC, to Good to Great, written by Jim Collins in 2001. I call them success books because even though they don't necessarily teach you specific skills, they do give you a lot of action that you can take to apply to those specific skills and get the results you want in your life. In the last video, we talked about splitting your reading into specific skills you want to be world class in and general books. And here, we're going into more specifics, talking about how you want to read biographies, you want to read specific tangible skills, and you want to read success books, which maybe aren't about one person's biography, but bring in different stories and different people and put it all together to show you a different way of thinking. Look at it this way. You have the three categories of books, and within each, you want to make sure you're reading books that help you get better at those one or two things that you want to be world class in and help you see the world and understand the world better. Obviously, specific skill books can be better tied to really taking those one or two things and being world class in them, and autobiographies and success books can be better geared toward those general ideas and understanding the world. But within each category, you can have both. By the way, if you want to get in shape, read some books about health and working out. If you want to have better relationships, read some books on relationships. You don't want to try to reinvent the wheel. It's like Warren Buffett said, it's good to learn from mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes. I hope these last two videos have been helpful in making you think about what to read in the first place, because the worst thing you can do is learn to read quickly, but be reading books that are a waste of time, or even worse, are the wrong ideas and are polluting your mind instead of stimulating it in the right way.